my book just came out. So I wrote a book on how to change yourself and become the 10x version of you, become part of the 1%. You know, I went from C player or quitter in life to serving with the 75th Ranger Regiment. I became an infantry company commander, and now I successfully transitioned out of the military after accomplishing one dream right into another. A lot of people fail when they come out of the military. It's like, I didn't think anything of it. You know, when I got out, I was just chasing a dream. I was chasing a vision. It was just like when I decided to switch from enlisted soldier to infantry officer. I felt fear and I felt nerves, but I just went for it. Over the years, I got obsessed with personal development, man. You know, one of my mentors, he says that your level of success will never exceed your level of personal development. I love that saying because it's fucking true, and it's been true in my life. You know, before I started working on myself, my life was very average, okay? One of the first jobs that I tried to get was at like a 2-star restaurant, and they wouldn't even hire me, okay? Like, everybody eats there, and this restaurant wouldn't hire me. I just didn't qualify. I wasn't good enough. One of my first jobs after I left high school was at a temp agency. I worked for this temp agency, which is basically, if you never worked for a temp agency, they pay you minimum wage, and you get paid weekly. And you get paid according to the projects that you say yes to. So they call you up, and the jobs are relatively easy to get. But they call you up and they say, hey, we have this job, this construction project. Do you want to come out and do some work on it? We'll pay you. And it's this many hours this week. You say yes, you show up, you do the work, and you get that paycheck a week later. The reason I got a job at a temp agency is because I couldn't get a job anywhere else. Okay, and I went from that to 75th Ranger Regiment, Strike Force 1 Ranger PL, then Infantry Commander, 4 combat deployments, and then next thing you know, I start my coaching and consulting business. I'm helping people with leadership, mindset, fitness, life. And I find myself training the leaders of a $1 billion company. Fast forward from that, I become an author. And I've been in business now since 2019, so successfully have done that. But it's crazy how many people in life, they wander through it. They're not intentional about where they're trying to go. They set sail and they're a ship at sea with no clear direction on where they're going. I got tired of not knowing where I was going to go. I tried just falling into the social norm. I was a college dropout, and I just drifted. I went where everybody told me I should go. Eventually, I got sick and tired of that. And I started living my life with a vision and chasing the vision of me that I thought I could be, the ranger, the officer, the entrepreneur. And I just started working on myself every single day. That personal development that I did, where I used to wake up in the morning. This is, I think it was like 2013. I would wake up in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would start studying. I would study successful people. And like Epictetus said we should mirror worthy role models. And so that's what I was doing I was studying successful people because I wasn't successful, not outside the military. And I just knew that if I studied them, I could adopt their habits and I could get closer and closer to becoming them. So I started doing personal development. And personal development changed my life. It got me to the dream job, my dream career, my dream life. And I wouldn't be where I'm at without it, you know? So if you guys want your life to go up, that's what the purpose of this video is a lot of people aimlessly try to improve their situation. And this chapter in my book right here. It says, I started off with saying, deliberate practice is purposeful, whereas practice is meaningless. There's a big difference between deliberate practice in life and just practice. Deliberate practice is when you actually apply yourself, when you put intention behind the activity that you're doing. Life works off of a cause and effect, right? A cause creates an effect. You plant a seed, you're going to harvest that later. So practice, if you just go out and you don't really give an intention behind whatever it is that you're practicing, you're never going to get better at it. It's like trying to go out and you're going to run 400 meters on the track. Well, maybe at first you go out there and there's no intention, you get a little bit quicker, but eventually you're going to plateau. And unless you start applying yourself differently, you're not going to get faster. Unless you go out there and say, listen, I'm going to run this 400 meters at 90 seconds or less, 75 seconds or less. Unless you set a specific goal and intention for that 400 meters, unless you make that practice deliberate, it's meaningless. You could go out there and say, oh, I'm just going to run and I'll just do whatever. And you go out there, and you do the 400 meters, and you don't really grow, you don't improve. So in life, in personal development, your life becomes a byproduct of who you are, right? It's not a byproduct of what you want, it's a byproduct of who you are. So if you have great character, if you're a great person, you have a great life. So if I want to create a great life, I have to become a great person. So in the morning, what I started doing in 2013, I started building a better me. And that's what you guys can start doing. Whatever dream you have inside of your heart, whether it's getting into the special operations pipeline, you want to be a Green Beret, Ranger, Navy SEAL, I don't know what you want to do. I don't know if you want to start your own company. I don't know if you want to, maybe you built a company, you want to leave your company and start another one. Maybe you just want to be a good dad. Maybe you want to finally be a good son. But maybe you want a more rich family. Not rich in terms of money, but rich in terms of happiness, fulfillment, abundant. In order to build that life, in order to get that life, you have to become the person that achieves it. Remember this, guys. The purpose of your goals is not to achieve. The purpose of your goals is to grow. Personal development changed my life, and after I achieved my dream of serving in the 75th, I went on my military career, and I was at another crossroads later on. I was trying to decide what to do next with my life. And I went out and I ran 100 miles in the Colorado Rockies. I actually did it with no train up. I signed up for the race on a Sunday. The following Saturday, I went out and competed in the race. First one I had ever done. Furthest distance I had ever ran before that was 26.2 miles. I signed up for the race because I got inspired. I wanted to do something to challenge myself, and I was searching and figuring out what was next for me in life. So I signed up for the race, and I went out and I did it. And it was at 11,000 feet, no train up. It was a 36-hour race, and I finished. I completed the race. It was one of the toughest things I ever did. I died on that mountain. I literally died on that mountain because the old version of me does not exist. But what I really killed off was the things that were holding me back. I realized in that race that I had become the person I had set out to become. And what I wanted to do next in life, my calling, required me to become a different version of me. So I could no longer be the ranger, the leader, the officer. I had to become the entrepreneur. So I killed that version of me on the mountain. And it was one of the toughest things I ever did. 5 months later after that race, I was out of the military and I was doing business full time. I was coaching entrepreneurs. I was helping people with leadership mindset. I was helping them change their lives, change them, become the best version of them. It was my calling. And that race, I never could have expected what happened on that race. But I went out to that race. I went out to that 100 miles with an intention. My intention was to discover myself, discover what was next for me in life, and I found it. And so over the years, improving upon me and doing personal development has been the very thing that has created a different life for me. And you guys, I learned after that race, I got on the phone with one of my mentors, and he was kind of expecting me to do something else in the military right around that point in time. He was expecting me to go back into special operations, kind of go deeper into it. And I remember calling him, I felt like I was going to let him down, and I was, hey sir, how you doing? He said, good, J Soul. He used to call me J Soul. And I said, went out and did that race, 100 miles. He's like, oh, man, that's crazy, man. I said, I learned something. And I said, I learned that my calling is to actually, I'm supposed to get out of the military. I'm not actually supposed to keep pursuing this path in the military and go deeper into special operations and do some of those secret squirrel type of missions. And I thought he was going to be so upset because he had been mentoring me for a long time. I thought I was going to let him down. And he was a military guy. He had incredible military resume. And I remember thinking I was going to let him down with that phone call. And I didn't. He said, congratulations, man. He said, you know what? A lot of people, they put agencies like the one that I'm at, units like the one that I'm at up on a pedestal. And he said that it's fun, it's good. But he valued chasing what was in your heart. He saw the bigger picture in life. And he said, now that you've decided to change directions, knowing all the work that you did to get to where you're at in your military career, he's like, how do you feel? He's like, do you have any regret that you're changing directions? Do you have any regrets that you're going to get out of the military? Do you have any that you should have done something different? And he said, how do you feel? I said, honestly, a little nervous that I'm getting out, a little uncomfortable. But through it all, I would say that I'm disappointed that I'm changing directions. You know, because I put a lot of work in, go build my career, build my resume, go this direction. Set myself up for great military success, right? It's a 15-year investment for me. Here I was going to leave it all. So part of me kind of expected that I'd be disappointed in myself. But I told him, I said, I'm not. I'm actually proud of who I became. You see, I started working on myself in 2013, and I had really, truly been deliberate with how I wanted to improve. I created an alter ego for my personality because I was a guy that didn't believe in himself, and I wanted to feel like I could believe in myself. And so I just created a personality to try to, of the person I knew that could succeed at the goals that I had: Ranger School, the Ranger Regiment, infantry, being an infantry officer, commander, all the different milestones. And I started chasing that version of me that I could see inside my mind. And I became that man. I became that leader. I created another persona. You guys will make fun of this, okay? Like the one guy on YouTube yesterday, he was like, hey, your pool looks like shit. You know what, man? It took me 20 years of working my ass off to get that shitty pool. I come from a small town of like 300 people in the middle of nowhere. So you guys that want to talk shit on my YouTube comments, whatever, man. This is going for all the positive people that are out there. Okay? You haters are out there, fuck it. I don't, hopefully you guys turn your attitudes around. But point being, all right, is life becomes a byproduct of who you are. The personas that I created, The first one was Jay Warrior. Jay Warrior was the guy that could actually accomplish military success. Jay Lyon was the guy that got himself on social media and he didn't care about people's judgments. I created a persona for that. Jeremiah the Great, that became a persona for me. A person that was successful in entrepreneurship. So I created these characters in my mind with all the chapters that I lived, and I became that man. So personal development, as I worked on me, worked on becoming Jay Warrior, Jay Lion, Jeremiah the Great, my life started to change. My life started to conform and fit the character that I had built. The character, the values that I had built inside of myself. Not the character like a video game character like that I played. I mean, it was a little bit like that, but it was the character that I instilled inside of me. Discipline, integrity, hard work, honesty, going the extra mile, giving 110%, developing a bad mother mindset, being mentally tough, striving for excellence. My life started to reflect those traits. My life became more excellent. So for you guys that are out there, remember, practice is meaningless, but deliberate practice is purposeful. Every single morning you have an opportunity to apply deliberate practice to your life and who you want to be. So in the morning when you wake, build a routine that builds you. Work on body, mind, soul every single day. Figure out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Fix your weaknesses. If you don't see yourself as a very academically inclined person and you're not very smart, still study, read the books like me. I didn't think I was very smart. I had to study more than everybody else. I had to read more than everybody else. Spend more time into it to get just as much as they got out of it easier. If you're out of shape, spend the morning working on your body. If you have no connection with God, spend your morning developing and working on that connection with God. Remember, guys, what I said. Practice is meaningless, but deliberate practice is purposeful. Conquer all.